Did you know there's a small rural town in Japan where people over 100 outnumber the children? I didn't believe it at first, until my own family doctor during a routine checkup told me about a strange study from Harvard. He said, they don't live longer in Japan because of genetics. They just do a few small things each day that most Americans overlook. Honestly, I chuckled. At 68, I've tried my share of exercises, from brisk walking, light weights to those early morning yoga shows on TV. But what I'm about to share with you today is nothing like that. These are gentle body habits repeated daily, not exercises in the traditional sense. No machines, no sweat, no complicated routines. And yet, what shocked me was this. When neuroscientists scanned the brain during these movements, they found activation in memory centers, emotional pathways, and even balance control more than any physical activity they'd ever measured. Older Japanese adults who kept up these daily habits had something remarkable in common. Their joints stayed more flexible. Their memory stayed clearer, and perhaps most surprising, they had 40% lower rates of cognitive decline compared to Western seniors. At Stanford, researchers now call this the most overlooked longevity factor in modern medicine. And the best part, you don't have to live in Japan to begin. Just 2 minutes a day, right in your own home, and you can try it too. But let me give you a heads up. Among the 6 habits I'll share today, one of them has been shown to increase life expectancy by 7 years, based on a study of over 15,000 older adults in Japan. Yet nearly no one in America has ever heard of it. That's why the Elderly Way is here, to bring simple, powerful insights like these to our aging community in the U.S. in a way that's relatable and easy to follow. Before we dive in, leave a comment below and tell me, where are you watching from and how young are you feeling today? You never know, your story might just inspire someone else to start their own healthy journey. Now then, let's begin with the very first habit, the quiet foundation that many older Japanese build their entire day upon. No, 6. The slow walking habit of the Japanese. If slow walking sounds too simple to make any real difference, I used to feel the same. But then I came across a Japanese term, sampo, which means walking not just for movement but to reconnect with the body. For many older adults in Japan, sampo is like a gentle medicine they take each morning. It costs nothing, needs no equipment, and yet it quietly improves memory, blood pressure, and balance. The way they walk is very different from what we do in the West. They slow down to half their normal walking speed and breathe in rhythm with their steps. Inhale over 2 steps, hold for 2 steps, exhale over 4 steps. That simple rhythm, paired with steady footwork, helps the heart and brain sync up in a surprisingly powerful way. A study from Kyoto University followed adults over 60 who practiced sampo daily for 10 years. The results: their arteries stayed more flexible, their blood pressure dropped by an average of 12 systolic points, and most impressively, they maintained balance far better than their peers. Why? Because when walking slowly, the full sole of the foot meets the ground, and each foot has 33 small joints. Those tiny signals from the feet send messages to the brain, improving your sense of space and balance. Even here in the U.S., friends of mine who tried sampo for just 8 weeks could balance on one foot nearly a full minute longer, something they hadn't done in years. To walk properly, just remember these simple steps. Step with your heel first, roll through your arch and push off with your toes. Look about 6 feet ahead, not down. Let your arms swing naturally, fingers soft, no tension. Breathe with your steps and count at first to stay in rhythm. Early morning is ideal, when cortisol levels are naturally higher, helping you feel calmer throughout the day. One important note: don't practice sampo on a treadmill. The moving belt breaks the natural foot movement. If possible, choose natural terrain, grass, dirt paths, park trails. According to Tokyo University, those who practiced sampo on soft surfaces had 20% better joint flexibility than those who walked only on pavement. Start small, just 10 minutes a day, then build up to 30 minutes as your body adjusts. Think of it as a quiet gift you give your body every single morning. No, 5. The Japanese morning stretching habit. Every morning at 6:30 a.m. in Japan, a soft piano melody plays across the national radio. It's not a lullaby or morning news jingle. It's the gentle cue for a routine that's been part of Japanese life since 1928, Radio Teiso. Now don't let the word exercise fool you. Radio Teiso isn't about burning calories or pushing your heart rate. It's simply a series of 13 gentle stretching movements, flowing one into the next and lasting exactly 3 minutes and 15 seconds. There's no holding poses, no straining, just fluid, continuous movement, like moving your body through warm honey, loosening your joints and waking up your whole system. At Osaka Medical University, researchers followed 8,000 adults over 60. Half of them practiced Radio Teiso daily, half didn't. The results were remarkable. The stretching group had 40% fewer falls, 55% less chronic back pain, and maintained nearly full range of motion in shoulders and hips even into their 80s. Why does such a short routine make such a difference? The secret lies in a natural lubricant inside your joints, synovial fluid. With regular movement, your joints release more of it, up to 30% more. But when we sit still for too long, this joint oil thickens and dries up, leading to stiffness, discomfort, and pain as we age. The Radio Teiso routine begins with a gentle overhead arm raise, opening the chest and expanding lung capacity. Then comes a sequence of arm rotations to loosen the shoulders, torso twists to keep the spine mobile, side bends to stretch the rib muscles. The lower body includes light bouncing on the spot and shallow squats to maintain hip and knee mobility. The entire routine follows a gentle rhythm, just enough to boost circulation but never exhausting. The Japanese usually do this right after waking up, before eating or drinking anything. That's when growth hormone levels are still naturally high, making this the best time for connective tissue to respond to stretching. You should feel like you're moving through warm honey, smooth, light, without force. And if you can't manage the full routine, just stick to the arm raises and torso twists. They offer the most benefits with the least effort. Even today, many Japanese companies still have employees practice Radio Teiso together before work. And research shows employees in these companies take 30% fewer sick days compared to those without the routine. No, for the deep squat habit that supports independence. If you've ever walked through a park or garden in Japan, you might have noticed something unusual. Older adults sitting in a deep squat with heels flat on the ground, chatting or tending plants. And they can stay like that for 10, 20, even 30 minutes with no discomfort. I couldn't do it. The first time I tried at 65, I lasted about 7 seconds before falling backward and hearing my knees complain. But here's what I learned. This isn't just about flexibility. It's a primal human posture that many of us have lost from years of sitting in chairs. In Japan, they've kept it because they use it every day, in everyday life. A 12-year study by the Tokyo Institute of Geriatrics tracked 5,000 older adults and found those who could hold a deep squat for just 2 minutes had 70% lower risk of needing assistance with daily activities. They maintained strong, mobile hips that allowed them to dress themselves, use the restroom, and garden with ease. And they lived an average of 9 years longer independently than those who couldn't squat. Biologically, this posture is essential. It fully opens the hip joints, preventing the stiff capsule that causes shuffling steps. It maintains ankle flexibility, which is key for balance and fall prevention. It strengthens the pelvic floor muscles, helping with bladder control, and it decompresses the spine, letting nutrients reach the discs between your vertebrae. A Harvard study found cultures that regularly squat deeply have 80% lower rates of hip replacement surgery and 60% fewer cases of chronic back pain. Want to start practicing it? Don't try to squat in the middle of the room just yet. Use a wall behind you for support. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart, toes turned slightly outward. Slowly lower yourself, letting your knees track over your toes, If your heels don't stay flat, place a rolled towel under them. Begin with just 30 seconds. Work your way up to a minute, then 2 as your joints loosen. Frequency matters more than duration. 5 one-minute sessions per day are better than 1 5-minute squat. Older Japanese adults don't work out in this position, they live in it, while waiting for the bus, gardening, tying shoes, playing with grandkids. Every time you use this posture in real life, you're reinforcing healthy movement. And that's how you hold on to independence for years longer, quietly. 1 deep squat at a time. No 3 the daily one-leg standing habit. It might sound simple, maybe even a little silly. But in Japan, doctors actually prescribe standing on one leg, the same way Western doctors prescribe medication. And yes, it's even covered by health insurance there because the science behind it is that strong. I laughed when I first heard that. Really, just standing on one leg. But then I read a long-term study from Fukuoka University, where researchers followed over 12,000 people for 15 years. They found that people who practiced this habit daily had 68% fewer hip fractures, 75% fewer hospitalizations due to falls. Brain scans also revealed something incredible: increased gray matter density in the areas responsible for motor control and balance. When you stand on one leg, your body makes thousands of tiny adjustments every minute to stay balanced. It's not just a leg workout, it's a neural reset for your entire system. Your proprioceptors, position sensors in your muscles, become more responsive. Your inner ear, vestibular system, recalibrates. Your vision processes faster because your brain is integrating multiple systems at once. Here's how to practice it safely. Stand near a wall or sturdy chair in case you lose balance. Lift one foot just 1-2 inches off the ground. Focus your eyes on a fixed point about 10 feet away. Breathe steadily and hold for 30 seconds. Switch legs and repeat. Just twice a day is enough to see real benefits for your joints, your brain, and your ability to stay independent. Once it gets easier, you can challenge yourself by closing your eyes, forcing your brain to rely on balance systems other than vision, turning your head side to side, drawing slow circles with the lifted foot, raising your arms overhead to shift your center of gravity. The rule is to progress gradually. If 30 seconds becomes easy, aim for 45. If you can do it with eyes closed, try standing on a folded towel for added instability. Many older Japanese adults practice this while brushing their teeth, 1 minute on each foot, built right into their day. And here's the most surprising part. This habit helps the brain as much as the body. It keeps your brain flexible, stimulating new neural connections, which decline as we age. According to Mayo Clinic, how long you can stand on one foot is a stronger predictor of longevity than blood pressure or cholesterol. Seniors who can balance for 30 seconds on one leg have a much lower mortality risk, comparable to someone 10 years younger. No to the floor-to-stand habit that holds the key to longevity. I used to think, at my age, as long as I don't fall, I'm doing okay. But then I visited an old friend in Japan. He's 78 now, and what I saw made me pause. He sat on the floor to eat, watch TV, read the newspaper, and stood up effortlessly. No chair, no hands, no wobble, and he did this over 20 times a day. I asked him, "What's your secret?" He smiled and said, "We just live a little closer to the floor than most people." Turns out this everyday habit holds powerful benefits. A study by Tsukuba University followed over 10,000 older adults. Those who regularly transitioned from standing to the floor and back had 40% more lower body strength, 50% better hip flexibility, and many could still rise without help, even into their 90s. But here's the real surprise. Their cognitive scores were also 15% higher. Why? Because getting down and back up from the floor isn't just physical, it's a full-body coordination challenge. You have to plan your movements, balance your weight, control your muscles, know where your body is in space. In other words, it's a brain workout disguised as a daily movement. Here's how the Japanese traditionally do it. Start from standing, kneel on one knee, then the other. Sit back on your heels, then move into a comfortable floor posture, cross-legged or side sit. To stand, step one foot forward like a lunge, push upward, then bring the other foot in. It sounds simple, but doing it smoothly without strain or hesitation takes strength, control, and coordination. If you're just starting out, use a low stool as a transition aid. Support yourself with your hands, then gradually reduce the assistance. Practice on a yoga mat or soft surface to protect your knees. You don't need to do it perfectly. Just do it consistently. 2 to 3 times a day is enough to make a difference. Older adults in Japan don't think of this as exercise. It's just how they live. From childhood to old age, sitting on the floor is natural for them. For us, it may take patience to regain the habit, but it's worth it. And this goes beyond flexibility and strength. According to a well-known study in Brazil, those who can rise from the floor without using their hands live, on average, 6 years longer than those who need support. No, one, the towel twisting habit that awakens body and brain. Of all the habits I've learned from Japanese elders, this one changed the way I think about aging and movement. A simple hand towel, something you might use to dry your hands, is also a powerful tool to keep the body strong, the brain sharp, and the spirit calm well into your 90s. They call it tenuigi hibiki, and while it sounds gentle, the effects are anything but. When researchers at Taku University wired participants to measure muscle activation, they found deep spinal muscles lit up with activity. Inner foot muscles were engaged. Even facial muscles responded, enhancing emotional and cognitive expression. In a long-term study of 15,000 seniors over 20 years, those who practiced towel twisting for just 2 minutes a day lived 7 years longer on average, maintained grip strength, a key marker of independence, well into their 90s, had bone density comparable to people 20 years younger, but perhaps most impressive of all, brain scans showed both hemispheres of the brain activating together, a rare pattern that helps build new neural connections, improve memory, speed up reaction time, and lower dementia risk. Here's how to do it. Roll a hand towel and hold it at shoulder width, about 18 inches apart. Pull outward as if you're trying to rip the towel and keep that tension constant. While maintaining tension, twist your upper body to the right. Keep your hips facing forward. Movement should come from your core. Hold the twist for 3 seconds, then return to center. Repeat on the left. The key is to maintain tension the entire time. That self-created resistance forces your stabilizing muscles across the body to work together. Match your breathing to the movement. Inhale as you return to center. Exhale as you twist. This breathing rhythm stimulates the vagus nerve, helping reduce inflammation and calm the nervous system. The beauty of this habit is its flexibility. You can start gently, less twist, less tension, and build from there. It works whether you're standing, sitting, or even lying down, as long as the principles are the same: tension, control, and breath. Biologically, this movement is a form of isometric contraction, where the muscles stay engaged without changing length, and it stimulates the release of myokines, special proteins your muscles produce when active. Myokines act like internal medicine. They reduce chronic inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and even stimulate the growth of new brain cells. Towel twisting produces more myokines than any other physical movement ever studied. Timing matters too. Many Japanese do this right after waking to activate the nervous system, and again before bed to calm the body and support deeper sleep. Just 1 minute in the morning, 1 minute at night. No equipment, no gym, no trainer, but results that can last a lifetime. Everything you just watched, it's not trendy or high-tech, but it leaves us with one undeniable truth. The Japanese don't live longer because they are lucky. They live longer because they live differently. No rushing, no extremes, just simple, intentional movements repeated every day for decades. And what struck me most in my 60s is this: everything they do, I can do too. No gym, no equipment, just a new perspective on what aging can be. At the Elderly Way, we're not here to fight aging. We're here to return to what's essential, where movement is gentle, not forced, where aging isn't decline, it's transformation. You've seen the path. Science has confirmed it. The Japanese have lived it. Now it's your move. You can keep doing what you've always done, or start something entirely new. One towel, one leg, one quiet sit down and stand up from the floor could be the beginning of 10 stronger, sharper, more independent years. It's not about how old you are. It's about when you choose to start. And if not today, then honestly, when?